Welcome back to Gorge for another casted game. In the green on the west side this time we have Corvinus 1 as the Ottomans, and on the east side in the yellow we have Crossbow Abuser, also known as Puppypaw, as the Malians. Now I'm really looking forward to this game because I think this matchup is not one that a lot of us get to see, as the Ottomans have kind of fallen out of favour a little bit. There's been a few nerfs to military schools. I remember a couple of seasons ago they were literally the bane of my existence with the amount of units that they can pump out and all of that, whereas now they just seem a lot slower. Their eco isn't particularly good, and so it's kind of, you often see fast Imperials to get the bombards and stuff like that. But as both of these players get their bases set up, we've got the Dark Age military school and we've got the pit mine going up over here. Let's jump out of this view and just take a little look at the vizier points, because these have changed recently. So now if you see, for everyone like me who's not super versed on these, I thought we could take a little gander while they're, doing the usual scouting and stuff like that. So on the first level we've got field works, which spawns 2 imams and gives them an AoE heal ability. So that's really good if you're defending. You get those 2 guys and they can heal, and then it increases as you go up through the ages. You've got the meta drums, so you spawn 1 meta at the landmark, and then it also increases the movement speeds of all the units in formation. So that's when you've got the meta and them all selected and moving together, that counts as a formation. So if you're a team game enjoyer, just be careful that it won't work with your allies because you can't select those units and move them together, which is a little bit annoying. And then we got the Anatolian Hills, which spawns 10 sheep, and it gives you the increased mining speed. So often we will see that one because it gives you loads of nice, safe food. The second level, we have Military Campus that lets you build an extra military school, which is good if you're going for that free production. You've got the new Horse Archer ability, or Cavalry Archer as they're called for these guys, which you can get in the military school as well. And then you've got the Extensive Fortifications, and this one's a really interesting one because it reduces the defensive building cost, but it also gives your garrison arrows crossbows, so that does bonus against heavy. So if you're getting men-at-arm rushed or you've got knights in your base, this can be really good at defending that as well. Then we have the Advanced Academy, which increases production speed by 25% and gives the military schools lancers and janissaries, so because you don't have access to those until you get this vizier point. Then you have the Janissary Company that spawns 2 janissaries from the landmark and all the military schools. So obviously the more military schools you have when you use it, the better. But that's a nice little defensive bonus if you're getting cataphract rushed or knights or something and you manage to get this, then you're all good. We've also got the Pax Ottomana. The Strength of the Empire enables a time of prosperity. This is where you get 50% faster villagers for 4 minutes. So you'll often see players doing this now with 2TC, and then they will, once they're on 2TC, then they'll ping this and they get 4 minutes of even more production that can be a really big eco boost. Then you've got the siege crews that allows all the siege engines to be garrisoned by infantry, that gives them increased setup speed and all that jazz. You've got the free bombard one, which is from the town centre. If you're not in Imperial, it's like a mini bombard, a bombard light if you like. And then the final one is trade bags, which increases the amount gold traders collect from the Saharan trade network. So if you go for that landmark, then that's what you go for. I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at these, and now we're going to go back to the other mode so we can check out which landmarks both of these guys are going for. We got the twin minaret madras, which I think is a pretty standard landmark on this map. Usually you'll see players putting it against their TC here because the berries always spawn on that side, but it is a drop-off point, so having it here against the wood line isn't the end of the world. We can see the spear is trying to cause some trouble, just burning down a house slowly but steadily over here, and also trying to catch the scout as well. We've got the Mansa Quarry for Puppy, and that is going to allow him to get all of that passive gold. So what he uses that for is going to be interesting because he's got his first mill going down, so maybe we're going to see the classic cow boom, not sure, but we are going for, I think we just saw the warrior scouts going in, so these guys are going to be able to go and poke Corvinus and ruin his day a little bit. Spears trying to stop the villager from healing up those houses, because they obviously, all of the houses around the pit mine do give increased passive gold from the pit. And if we take a little look at this spawn, it does look like Puppypaw is a little bit worse for wear when it comes for pit mine locations. So it's also he's killing all the deer. Is that because he's just spreading them out so he stops Puppy? But if we take a look, both of his other gold mines are at the back over here, but I'm pretty sure this might actually be blocked by woodline, so you might not be able to get full surround. So if Corvinus has scouted this is a location he really wants to prevent with his military, whether he keeps something over here just to keep an eye on it. But if you can stop Puppy getting over here to get his other pit mines, the only other location he has is over here, which is super forward. So definitely something that Corvinus has to be aware of when you're playing against the Malians. That's really important. We do have the Warrior Scouts coming in, and Puppy is going for Pro Scouts as well. So these guys are going to be able to do a little bit of pokey, and they're also going to be able to nick all of that venison off the map. So actually this spawn here is actually amazing for Puppy, because when it's right back here against the edge, your scouts will actually run down under the TC, and then they'll head straight down the middle. So he's going to be able to grab these ones without going anywhere near Corvinus's base, and this one over on this side will literally just go straight across here as well. So actually this is like the perfect spawn for a bit of Pro Scouts shenanigans. So it looks like he's going to be sending all of his scouts over to the one deer pack, trying to nick all of these ones out from under Corvinus's nose. If we take a look at his base, there's no cow boom going on, so not sure whether he's ignoring the cows because of the deer. And we can actually see that he has gone up here for his pit, so as soon as he ages up to castle, he's going to be able to do that. But Corvinus, that is one of the abilities. So can we see which one he went for? There's not a load of sheep, so that's not it. And oh, the spears are trying to stop the scouts nicking the deer using the stealth forest, circling around. They can still do quite a lot of damage, so with this kind of micro, they actually probably can survive against these spears. It's going to be a little bit of damage for Puppy, but actually these free spears are, if they go down, that's a lot of value lost for Corvinus as well. And using that stealth forest there, there you go. They've dropped the deer as well, just to make sure that they get away, because keeping these guys alive is going to be important. But if we take a little look over, let's flick back to Corvinus's view so we can see which one he went for. Oh, he hasn't actually chosen yet. That's why we haven't seen anything come in. So I wonder which upgrade he's going to be going for. He might be keeping this Vizier point so that he can decide what's best. Maybe he doesn't really need one right this second. So that's a good idea. But it does look like he's going for a fast castle. And here we go. He did go for the Imams. So they've got that AoE heal ability, and he's going to be able to get these spears back up to full health and protect the venison that's hiding in the stealth of the forest. Let's go back to the caster mode and back onto villagers. Here we go. So castle age coming in for Corvinus. Let's see what he goes for. Of course, he's going for the Istanbul Imperial Palace. So if we take a little look, this doubles the experience from landmarks, increasing your Vizier points by 3. So this means that you can actually get all of the Vizier points that you want, basically, because there's normally a limit of how many you get. But at the same time, over on Puppy side, we've got the Farimba Garrison. Really interesting. So this will, now that the bug has actually been hot fixed, so amazing work from the devs, this means that now you get access to 3 different units. You get the poison javelins, I can't remember all their names, you get the tanky Musafadi warriors, and then you get the freeborn, which are like anti-ranged melee units. So they've got loads of ranged armor, they got bonus damage against range, and yeah, that's basically what they can do. So we can see some movement over here, so a load of deer being nicked. I think this must be from over here. Yep, so Puppy's managed to get that away from Corvinus, that is denying a lot of food for the future. Both guys just about to hit castle, so let's switch over to income per minute, and then we can see what they are both up to. So no extra military schools in just yet, no extra mining on that. So, and he's not actually producing any more units, just free spears, a couple of, there we go, military schools and stables going down for Corvinus, as I was expecting. And we've got the poison javs. Interesting. So here we go. Have we? Yes, there we go. We have gone for the poison javs. So that does mean that the javelins get extra abilities, and they get that poison, which deals 3 damage over 6 seconds. So especially against armored units, this can be really, really strong, because normally the javelins have got really good base damage, but it's very hard for them to actually sort of take advantage of that because their fire rate is very slow. But this little bit, you see that health that spear lost is really quite quite vital. We can see a couple more of those coming in, and Corvinus just sticking to the spears, but he has actually managed to get a couple of relics already. So moss going down, and 2 of those relics dropped straight into the bag, and so now the one on the backside, the safe one over here by the deer that Puppy is hoovering up like no one's business, and then we've got the other 2 on that side. So this is looking pretty good for the relic haul for Corvinus, especially as he's already got these imams on the field. So we're going for a knight spear composition, which I think at the moment is pretty good, because the knights will be able to deal with small numbers of the javelins until Puppy can mass them up. But we've got pretty much a full pit over here, so I'm not sure if Puppy's going to be adding in these ones. He also probably wants to get his 3rd pit going so he can get more of that passive gold income, but his income is keeping up with Corvinus at this stage, and the javelins, there we go, look at that poison damage, trying to take that out, and Corvinus trying to run his imam away. If we see the amount it's doing, it's still quite a lot. I think the poison might get him in the end, and he is down. 1 relic denied, but that lancer is going to deal with those javelins very, very quickly. And some more units. This is really nice from Puppy. I love to see just a couple of these little units causing so much bother. We do have some more scouts nicking the deer, and Corvinus doing a great job of denying this, and Puppy obviously with the APM to drop the deer and actually run away to keep his scouts alive. These guys at the top level, you know, these are the tippity top, and yeah, they can actually do that. Whenever I do that, my scouts just die, but you know, that's the least of my worries, I think, at this stage. Puppy has managed to grab the top side relic as his javelins are poking away those spears, and we've got a couple of metas in queue, so they are going to be able to buff up those lancers and spears, and the 1 lonely men-at-arms in the back. We can see some eco-techs as well coming in for Corvinus now. We've got wheelbarrow, and we'll be expecting some of the other ones, but these javelins dealing with those spears very, very effectively. So we've also got some donzos coming in, but I think this is the equivalent of the longbows, because once you get enough of these units together, especially the poison javelins, you can actually deal with knights with a little bit of kiting relatively easily, as long as they're in small numbers. So as long as Puppy is really careful with these units, it's going to be quite difficult for Corvinus to deal with. So if we take a look at this knight here, let's go in. Corvinus is running away. The donzo's not doing their throw ability, so they not sure if we switch over to his view, do we get access to that? Or have they've already used it? There we go. So they can periodic throw. Whether it refreshes, I don't know. But all of these low health units, they should be getting healed up by the imams. Hopefully Corvinus still has those guys knocking about. There's still one somewhere around on the map trying to get relics. But look at these knights. They're really going down quickly. And even though these are ranged and they've got a lot of ranged armor, that poison, look at the damage that's doing. That lancer gone down by poison. This one's poisoned as well. And this is incredible what these javelins can do. It's yeah, I definitely think this is one of the best units you can get from the Farimba, and especially when you can make up for the loss of food income that you'd normally get from your Calboon with some other method like the Pro Scouts. It's really paying off at the moment. So these numbers looking quite scary outside Corvinus's base, but he does have this free production, so if Puppy can give him a little bit of breathing room, then he's going to be able to produce a lot. And with this Imperial Palace, he's also going to be able to get more of his Vizier points, which should help him to defend. Maybe with the mini Great Bombard, not so sure that's the right play, but I definitely think we need some more units that are going to be able to deal with these javelins. Potentially horsemen, although the poison does make it really difficult to get on top of them, or some mangonels. Although the siege has been nerfed, getting a couple of good mangonel shots on these would be really good. But with the micro that Puppy's got, he would be able to also snipe them with the javs as well. But Donzo's on spears, but those javs on the backside. And this is also something to be aware of with these javelins, is because of their high damage, 11 each. If you think we have here 19, so that's, let's say it's 20, let's say that's 200 damage, something like that. So we, as you know here, we don't do maths, but let's take the meta for example. So they can one-shot that, but once you get many more of these, they actually start overkilling stuff massively, and that really means that you're losing a huge amount of potential damage that you can do. So it's definitely, you'll see as Puppy gets more of these, I'd be expecting for these to be targeting in 2 different groups to try and get the most damage possible. And we got Donzos trying to burn these down, and as expected, Corvinus has got the mangonel. But if we take a little look at this damage over here, look at that damage it's taking from those javs, and because they're all spread out in formation, he just can't get a good contact on them, and they don't really care about TC fire. Ooh, that was quite a good shot, just catching it inside the wrong formation. Lancer getting kited over there by the javs, and the mangonel hitting a couple of Donzos, but they just walk away and laugh. Another Lancer going down, Springald's to try and take out the infantry, but this is where the javelins can actually be really scary, because against TC fire they literally just don't care. So now Puppy is focusing on that siege, trying to take out the villagers, healing them, the mangonel getting target fired from under the TC, and this is where we can see, if we spin around, we can see the damage. All of these villagers trying to keep that mangonel alive, but they're literally under the TC in the tower, and they just couldn't care less. And this is going to be really bad for Corvinus if he can't find a way of breaking these javelin lines with the Donzos in the front as the bit of the meat shield. That mangonel is finally going down, but all of those villagers have been lost along the way. Springald's doing a huge amount of damage, actually, surprisingly, to these front lines, taking these out. So that's actually pretty good position here. So there we go. So that looks like all the Donzos are down, and Puppy is just sacrificing these javs to make sure he can get rid of this siege and do as much damage as possible. But now his numbers are a little bit lower. He's going to have to retreat, and Corvinus did go for the great mini bombard. So now he has a huge amount of damage, 55 per shot, and a huge amount against buildings. So if he can get this into the right position, he could actually do a lot of damage. But looking at the eco, it's definitely looking like it's in Puppy's favour. He's taken out 14 villagers from Corvinus. He's got all of his pit mines set up over here, double full one at the top, so each of these bringing in a huge amount of gold, 130 a minute, 110, and he's got the other one down on this side as well, so that's really massive. And he is diving down, trying to get the siege, the great bombard trying to get a bit of damage. That was a big shot. Those javelins just absolutely exploded. And if you're anything like me, and a lot of the guys that I've heard talking about it would love to get some ragdoll physics for these guys. Getting hit by a cannon like that, you definitely want to see them flying away across the map. But that great bombard actually coming in really clutch there for the defense. But Puppy is massing up these units and rallying to be defensively. And if you notice where he's positioning, he's keeping over to this north side so that Corvinus isn't able to try and get out of here too much. He's got a couple of lancers, but if he takes out the villagers, what's one villager to a Malian player? But if he focuses his army up here, then it's not like Corvinus can really sneak round. But these lancers may be able to do a little bit of damage if Puppy isn't careful, but he is, and the Donzos and the Javs are on the back line to try and take those out and stop his eco being destroyed, as his other units are circling round Corvinus's base. The two of the Lancers are almost down. The villagers, oh, that's a big hit on that gold mine. A lot of villagers just been hit there. I think 3 taken out so far, but one of the Lancers is just about to get done by poison, as Puppy is also fighting on the top side against this big force. Huge amount of Ottoman siege going on. With all of this siege, you might be thinking that maybe the siege landmark could have been better, but the Springald's actually doing quite a lot. Not a lot of health for these guys, and Corvinus trying to pull it back to keep them alive, and Puppy pulling himself away to make sure that he doesn't get hit. But a lot of these units are low, so a couple of good shots from this siege and he will be in a really good spot. You'd also be thinking that maybe a little bit of infantry in here would be good, but Corvinus just doesn't have the numbers to put them in there to decrease their setup speed. We can see those Lancers have escaped, one and a bit. I think he's just about going to make it out alive, but over comes Puppy's reinforcement forces, going to try a bit of a pincer movement around the gold and all of this siege, trying to drag them out. You can see he's trying to get Corvinus to go out to that side as his other units come in, but Corvinus not falling for it just yet. But all of these units being rallied over to this side with Mr. Bombard. It's definitely a little bit of a jittery action going on there, but There we go. So the military school being burnt down by the Donzos, and now Corvinus knows where he is. Even with the 4 relics in, his eco's looking a little bit worse for wear, and his food is really starting to lag. He obviously gets lots of free units, so he doesn't need as much as the others, but he's going to have to be really careful that he doesn't run out because Puppy is keeping him circled in. And if we take a little look over, once we have done this, we can take a little look over. There's still no cow boom going on. He's just eating the cows under the TC, so that's why his food is going absolutely crazy. So now we've got Springle, Lancer, and is it men-at-arms? What else have we got? A couple of men-at-arms in there and mass siege. So can Corvinus keep this siege alive long enough to do damage? So the Great Bombard doing a huge amount of AoE damage there. If it gets the right location, it's going to actually smash these units, but it's not quite focusing on the right area. Needs to be over here. Springald's trying to do it, but the ranged are sniping them out. They don't have a huge amount of health, so they can't do that much. The front line for Puppy does look like it's going down, and Lancer's trying to get on top. The Janissaries pulled in as a bit of a defense. I'm not sure whether they're going to do that well against these Javs, but Puppy forced to pull back to get away from that Great Bombard and the rest of the mangonels that are coming out on the field. But as Corvinus retreats, another Lancer's hit by all that poison damage, and he's pulling the siege in to try and get a big shot. Is he going to do it? Ooh, that's not done as much damage as I expected. It's yeah, a little bit underwhelming when you're not in the Imperial Age, and looking at the resources at the moment, it doesn't look like Corvinus is going to be getting to the Imperial Age anytime soon. He has managed to defend and clear off those units quite well. He's got quite a lot of siege, so hopefully that should help him, but he's now had to move out onto more exposed resources, all this gold on the top side, and eventually I am imagining he's going to have to move out onto some of these berries or something else to make sure that he's got enough food. So these guys have just hoovered up the berries over here, and so they're going to have to find something somewhere else because he doesn't have the wood for a farm transition yet. Actually, Puppy is also out on the berries and the other resources. He's eaten all of the venison, and we've also got more of those upgrades coming in. And Corvinus trying to find some damage with the Lancers, but it looks like Puppy might be circling around with a little force to try and do some damage. And he's just going to catch these villagers. If he times it right, he could do a really nice little pickup here and get 6 villagers down. But I think he's trying to keep an eye on the gold. I don't think he knows that Corvinus is out here, but the reinforcements are moving away and Corvinus is pulling into the base. Now Puppy knows where he is, and he's pulling back all of his forces from by the sacred sites and on the other side of the map. But that has actually alerted Puppy, and he's going to be running past these villagers. Is he going to get them as he runs past? Doesn't look like it. It's these. No, he does. He's realized they're going down. The javelins are getting them, and that's going to be at least half of them, if not more. If he can get the poison damage on a couple of these, they could potentially be going down, but that's a lot of damage. And on the top side, big fight here with the siege. Mangonels and Springles trying to take out those front lines. Great Bombard and Mangonels doing a huge amount to the javelins on the backside, and now this is looking pretty good for Corvinus. If he can get some direct hits with that siege, he's going to be alright, but if he can't, that poison damage is just going to slowly whittle him away. He doesn't have a huge front line, but he does have the imams healing. He needs to get something that can keep the units away from this siege, because all of that range damage is going to do a lot. And look at the reinforcements coming in from all of this production from Puppy. He's going to be able to take it out very quickly with the Great Bombard, and we've got a Wallalol incoming. Maybe not. He's decided against it. The first production building down, but oh no, the Great Bombard, is it going to go down? He's focusing on the units. The Bombard taking out some more. We got more units coming on the backside, going to be trying to take that out, and if he loses this Bombard, that's going to be a huge amount of damage done to Corvinus's economy, and that Vizier point now is wasted. Bombard gone, all the siege has been taken out, and Corvinus calls it. What amazing micro and play from Puppy there to show the strength of those Malian javelin throwers.